Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you've already been here, welcome back. I'm not sure how this video is gonna pick up because there's a lot of wind and it's a nice day out, at least for a winter in Wisconsin, so I decided to record outside, obviously, as you can tell. So in today's video, now in April, on April 21st, we have a double new moon in Aries coming up, and on that same exact day is the start of our next Mercury retrograde. I don't know if I've ever experienced that or really researched that energy before too much, so this is going to be something that's kind of different for everyone. And the best thing that I can come up with is, because it's that start with Aries season, and that's all about passion and new beginnings and energy and drive, sometimes flaring tempers, combined with that Mercury retrograde, which has to do with communication, that makes me think that there may be flaring tempers, people popping off at the mouth, you may be speaking before you think, and because Mars just went into Cancer, the sign of Cancer has a lot to do with emotions and the home, nurturing your ancestors and your territory, and Mars, which is ruled by Aries, is that similar energy that Aries has, where it's new beginnings, motivation, fresh starts, fresh new energy, but it can also have to do with flaring tempers. That being said, I think that a lot of people might be spurting out things that they might not mean. They might be more sensitive than usual and take things very personally. So that being said, I think that it's a good idea to know some things about grounding energy. Now, if you haven't heard of positive ions versus negative ions, so all day long in the 21st century, us human beings were exposed to our cell phones, we're exposed to computers, radiation, microwaves. All of those things can build up smog in our electromagnetic field that is positive ions. And we need to cleanse ourselves of that regularly. And by doing that, you need to get some negative ions in your system, also known as grounding. Depending on the climate you live in, the season that you're in, some of it might not be practical, so I'll list both varieties of indoor and outdoor. So a huge one that really helps to detox yourself from positive ions is go outside, walk around barefoot in the grass or in the mud. Some parks have paths that are all grass that are easier on your feet when you go on hiking trails. If you feel comfortable doing it, carry around flip-flops in your hand or your backpack or whatever, and walk the trails as much as you can barefoot, not counting pavement. I'm talking like the natural earth, soil, grass, what have you, the beach. And if you're gonna come across some rough terrain that you didn't see coming, then you can just throw your flip-flops on real quick. You don't have to, but it's one of the things you can do. Get yourself around moving water, especially waterfalls, lakes, the ocean. Sometimes you don't always have access to those things, but they generate negative ions. You can literally put your hands on a tree. There's more to just being a hippie tree hugger than people think. The tree neutralizes the energy of the positive ions and fills you with negative ions. So those are just some examples of that. As far as indoors go, you can take Epsom salt baths. If you are able to get a hold of a Himalayan salt lamp, that really helps a lot. That generates negative ions into the air. People ask what the big deal about the Himalayan salt lamps are, besides that they're aesthetically pleasing, but there's more to it than that. It generates the negative ions, and it helps detox your system. Having indoor plants, anything that comes from the earth, having some house plants, having fresh flowers in your house, especially when you can smell the scent that's coming off of them. The more plants, the better, if it's practical for you. Also, the foods that you eat. So root vegetables, I don't know if potatoes really considered a fruit or a vegetable, but it's a root plant nonetheless. So potatoes, carrots, radishes, turnips, getting those things into your diet, that's all grounding. Also, dark chocolate is very grounding, especially in its purest form. So if you get a hold of it's spelled C-A-C-A-O. I think it's pronounced cacao. The higher the percentage is, the more pure it is as far as that goes. And if you eat that and drink a lot of water, that's also very grounding. So I think with all this crazy energy coming up, or even if it's not, it's just nice to get grounded anyways. Those are some ways, some things that can help you. As far as crystals go, so a lot of people go straight to grounding right away and they don't think of cleansing first. Now, I just heard a red squirrel chittering. I don't know if you could hear him, but see, he agrees with me. Or he's like, lady, quit making all that racket in my home. I don't have any peanuts for him, so darn. Anyways, so it's a good idea to cleanse before you ground. So if you're gonna go to, I'll actually, in the description box below, I'll list some crystals that are for grounding and also for cleansing, because it's hard to remember and you're not gonna know the spelling. So some really great grounding crystals are black tourmaline, obsidian, onyx, all your black stones pretty much, and they all work for protection as well as grounding. It's all about being present and being in your body, feeling the earth under your feet. That's what grounding's all about. It kind of keeps you sane. For anxiety, I've heard of things like name a couple of things that you can smell, name a couple of things that you can taste, feel, hear, to kind of help keep you down to earth. Now, for cleansing, most of your clear crystals and your white crystals are going to help with that, especially clear quartz. It's known as the master healer. So you can get yourself some clear quartz, some howlite, some rainbow moonstone. I'm sure there's a whole lot that I didn't list, so if I think of any before I post the video, sorry if it's really windy. I don't know how that's gonna sound till I play it back. But I'll list all the crystals. And then you want to work with your black crystals. So cleanse first, then ground. Because if you don't, sometimes that's like conditioning your hair before you shampoo it. If you're in the dental field or know anything about teeth, it's like putting a bunch of fluoride on your teeth when you have a bunch of plaque built up that didn't get cleaned off yet. That kind of deal. So I will do a collective mini read. So I'm only just gonna do one reading. It's not a pick-a-pile, it's just one single reading. It is a little bit windy out, so it might be harder to keep the cards in line, so I'm just gonna do one. This is one of those forever needs to hear this kind of readings. Or at least a few cards that you can meditate on with the energy that's going on astrology-wise with the month of April especially. So the Ace of Cups flew right out of the deck, so that might mean a lot of new beginnings for a lot of you. It could be a new relationship coming in. It could be new beginnings and renewed friendships. And if it's not romantic and it's not friendship, it could be the beginnings of self-love. And I feel like I've been getting the Ace of Cups in a lot of my readings lately. So that looks like positive, fresh energy, and with that Aries new moon, that's all about new beginnings, and the aces are all about new beginnings. And we've got the Four of Pentacles, so I think that could talk about staying grounded. It's saying you're gonna have these new beginnings, especially emotionally, but remember to stay grounded, invest wisely, whether it be financially or emotionally. It may be telling some of you to save your money and pay attention to where you're investing your energy, whether it's people, places, or things. Where to invest and where to pull your energy back from. we've got the Seven of Cups. This talks about multiple options. So if you're talking about a romantic situation, if some of you have had multiple options and you're not sure which one is the right one, it's probably none of them. And your one, that's the one where you'll be final on your decision, will come through soon, I think. If it isn't about a self-love type of thing, some of you are happy being single and might stay single and just be perfectly fine with that. Oh crap, a card went flying. Well, that is really hilarious considering that we're outside where it's windy. Granted, it's warm for a late March day in Wisconsin. It's still cold, and we got the Five of Pentacles in the reverse, which talks about coming back in from the cold. So maybe some of you felt left out in the cold, and you're either saving yourselves or you have a new healthy relationship coming in. And as far as something tells me to look at the next one for career and finances, and we have the Eight of Wands. That's all about swift communication coming through. So if some of you recently applied for a job or a promotion, or you're waiting on a message regarding your work life, that's a good sign that that message is going to come through. We've got the King of Wands. That's all about coming into your power, passion, energy, drive associated with Mars. So some of you are really taking advantage of that Mars energy. And we do have the Tower card. So now that, besides the crumbling of an old chapter and the birth of a new, that really talks about transformation. So maybe some of you will be starting new jobs soon, or there's a new beginning as far as your job goes. And something tells me this is the end of the reading. My gut tells me. And we got the Nine of Pentacles, which totally ties into all of that. The Nine of Pentacles talks about coming into your power financially and being financially independent. So I think there's a lot of great new beginnings for many of you, romantically and job life. Whether you're teaming up with somebody, whether it's a romantic partner or in your work life or going solo, either way, I see a lot of positive new beginnings for a lot of you. The energy is going to be a little weird this month, or upcoming month of April, but I think it's all going to end with positive new beginnings. Well, thank you all for watching. I'm not sure how the sound came through. Hopefully it's came through all right. I hope you have a great rest of your week and a great rest of the end of March and a good April. Thank you all for watching.